Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I am so excited to share my nail polish picks inspired by October's birthstones. If you don't know, I'm super excited because this is my birth month and I love opals, and I'm also feeling extra lucky because October's secondary birthstone is pink tourmaline. So as a certified pink lover, this is my dream. And as you can see, I do have a couple of greens to include this month as well, so I will talk about those later. For now, let me just show you my picks. My top pick for a traditional white opal polish will always be Mooncat's Curiosity's Prey because she really is that girl. This has the most beautiful milky white base that really lets the iridescent flakies just shine, and there's also this subtle blue shimmer in the background just giving this extra sparkle. It is just too good and gives you instant opal vibes without doing any nail art, which is so appreciated. I love the versatility this one offers too, where it really looks good no matter how many coats you do. But since it is my birthstone, I did want to try a little tutorial, so we're going to start with Cracked Polish's Vanille for the milky white base and use a couple of Cirque jellies to add some color and depth. I don't think you could go wrong with the colors that you choose for your opal nail art, but I feel like a blue and purple or pink are definitely a must. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but I did wipe off like 98% of the polish from the brush. So I'm trying to do these really light, feathery strokes to just add a subtle hint of color, slightly blending them along the edges. So I did end up doing a second very light coat, or at least in some spots where I wanted a little bit more color coming through, and I really loved how this turned out. It almost had a soft watercolor effect, and I was really tempted to just leave it as is, but I knew that adding some iridescent flakies would immediately transform them from this dreamy watercolor to opal nails. So I'm using a combination of Holo Taco's Lunar Unicorn Skin and Mooncat's Foxfire, since they both have these yellow and greenish blue colors. Again, I wiped off a lot of the polish so it doesn't pool or anything, and sort of lightly dabbed the flakies across my nail, focusing on different areas so that way they don't overlap too much, just a little bit, because I didn't want it to be overpowered by the flakies. And again, I love how this turned out. It just adds a beautiful rainbow kind of sparkle, just so magical. And I was so nervous to mess these up that I forgot to record my final step, which is one last thin layer of vanille to really encapsulate everything. I was so mesmerized by this look. I cannot wait to do it as a full mani. I'm also legally obligated to share a pink opal look, so for this I combined Cirque's Pink Lady Jelly and glitter glue, which looks like it has a pink base, but it barely shows up on the nail. If you have Cirque's Fantasia, it is basically a dupe for it, and you can still recreate this look easy peasy. So again, we're doing one coat of Pink Lady for our base, one coat of glitter glue, which honestly I think is so beautiful on its own. This literally looks like what it looks like in the bottle. So this combination is elite, and you can definitely leave it as is, but I decided to just do one more layer of Pink Lady Jelly to again encapsulate all those flakies and really give it this gemstone kind of vibe. I also love that this looks just like the opal gem in Hello Kitty's Island Adventures. Pink Tourmaline is October's secondary birthstone, and the first polish I have is Mooncat's Velvet Rose, which of course I will be velvetizing. Pink Tourmaline can come in a few different shades of pink, so this one is obviously more of a muted kind of option, but the silver magnetic really makes it shine. I also wanted to feature Cirque's Pinkies Up, which is a hot pink jelly with a pink shimmer and a ton of scattered hollow sparkle. This is obviously a much more in-your-face kind of hot pink shade, which I think matches some birthstones perfectly. They just look so pretty. This more vibrant color, I think, perfectly captures the uplifting energy that pink tourmaline is thought to bring, inspiring a sense of playfulness and creativity. Next, I decided to layer these two gorgeous pinks from ILNP called Malibu and Pink Slush, since I thought Malibu was a little too dark on its own. It's more of a true hot pink, but doing a coat of Pink Slush on top just kind of softens it a little bit. You could also do a second layer of Pink Slush if you wanted it even lighter or softer. That's the whole magic with jellies and layering them, but either way, once you're happy with your pink, you're gonna go in with a layer of KBShimmer's Out of Sequins, which is a silver reflective topper. You know I love reflective glitter, so I had to include it in one of my picks this month, and what better for a dazzling pink birthstone inspired shade. And rounding out my pinks, I have Holo Taco's Birthday Brat, which was inspired by the pink Tourmaline birthstone. This is in Holo Taco's frosted metal finish, which is basically a foily metallic, having this incredibly shiny and blingy finish, truly giving it all the birthday glam for pink lovers. No matter the shade of pink you choose, pink tourmaline is generally associated with things like compassion, self-love, and healing. Finally, I have a few greens because I wanted to include some polishes for green aventurine, which is one of the stones associated with Libras. It's such a beautiful and soft shade of green, and while this isn't an exact match, I had to feature Bee's Knees Lacquer Bog Dweller because it just looks like a gem with how glassy it is in the velvet effect. I unfortunately did overwork it a little bit, so I didn't have the smoothest finish, but it is still so mesmerizing. In a similar vein, I also have Cirque's Good Vibes Only, which is maybe slightly closer to the green aventurine color, and it's more readily available than Bog Dweller. I'm also doing the velvet effect again because it's just my preferred way to wear magnetics, and I feel like it looks a little bit closer to the effect of the stone itself, which, by the way, is associated with things like optimism, prosperity, harmony, and of course, balance. So a very fitting stone for Libra indeed. And my last pick turned nail art is Cracked Polish's I'm Jaded, which yes alludes to being a jade green, but I don't know, I think it can work for aventurine because it is a bit darker or maybe just more saturated than a lot of jade, and since this has a slightly crelly base, I decided to layer this with some light strokes of vanille to add some of that cloudiness seen in aventurine. Granted, the effect that I'm doing here ended up looking a little bit more like jade. I'm not exactly sure how to mimic the effect of the aventurine, but I think you get the idea of it giving a soothing green gemstone. And of course, I am finishing it with a thin layer of I'm Jaded again to encapsulate everything. I'm not sure why I applied it this way. I guess I was trying to apply it in certain spots to darken them, but just ended up covering my whole nail. So once again, I am in love with the final outcome, even if it does look like a darker jade. So that wraps up my top picks inspired by October's birthstones. As always, I would love to know your thoughts on my choices this month, especially if you're an October baby too. Like I mentioned in the intro, I'm already obsessed with opals and am obsessed with anything pink, so I just love our birthstones. And I had so much fun sharing a couple of options for each one. And even with the green aventurine, I thought that was just so fun because even though I am very much a pink kind of girl, I do also really love a lot of greens, and especially this more soothing shade. I think it's just so perfect. It just resonates so well with me. So yeah, I'm just a big fan of the stones that I got to feature this month. I feel so lucky. So I hope that you love them as much as I did, and make sure to leave me any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!